You were born into a game you didn't choose, a game whose rules were written before you ever opened your eyes. Before you learned your name, before you knew the taste of victory or the sting of betrayal, the game had already begun. And the tragedy, most people never realize they're playing. They think they're living, but they're just reacting to programming, to patterns, to invisible scripts handed down from generations of fear, shame, duty, and silence. Life is a game, but not one of luck. It's a game of inner mastery. And if you don't learn how to play it, it will play you over and over again, until you forget that you were ever a player at all. Because the enemy isn't out there, it's within. It's the part of you that whispers, this is just the way it is. The part that clings to comfort disguised as character. The part that waits for permission to be powerful. But the moment you wake up to the illusion, when you realize the board, the rules, even the other players were all designed to distract you from your own sovereignty, that's the moment everything changes. You see, they teach you how to obey, but never how to observe. They show you how to comply, but not how to see. And this game? It's rigged not against you, but against your awareness. Because an awakened player is the most dangerous force in existence. Psyphoria. There's a moment that comes before transformation, a kind of psychological vertigo, where everything familiar starts to disintegrate, not because life is falling apart, but because you are waking up. This is psyphoria, the euphoria of psychological awakening, mixed with the terror of no longer being who you were. Most people run from this threshold. They turn back, because when your identity starts to crumble, the mind panics. It screams, if I'm not who I thought I was, then who am I? That's the first layer of the game. You were taught to fear death. But the death that liberates you doesn't happen in your body. It happens in your mind. It's the death of the mask, the death of the obedient self, the death of every belief you inherited but never questioned. And in that death, you start to see your job is not to cling to what's crumbling. Your job is to let it burn, because the self that emerges from that fire, that's not the puppet, that's the player. Mindset. Every game is first won in the mind. What you believe about yourself creates your ceiling and your prison. And most ceilings are made of fear that doesn't even belong to you. They told you to be realistic, but realism is just the camouflage of the defeated. What they meant was, stay small, stay predictable, stay manageable. But the mind, when claimed, cleansed, and commanded, is the most dangerous weapon in the world. You don't need a new life, you need a new lens. Your reality is just a projection of your unconscious beliefs. So if you want to change your life, you don't hustle harder, you upgrade your internal operating system. Why do you think systems of power pour billions into keeping you distracted, into feeding your mind with fear, with division, with images of perfection you'll never reach? Because an unfocused mind is a controllable mind. But a focused mind, that's revolution. You don't rise by force. You rise by frequency. And your frequency is determined by the thoughts you refuse to entertain anymore. Belief. You want to hack the game? Here's your first cheat code. Belief is the foundation of all power. Not belief in religion, not belief in institutions, but belief in your own godlike ability to shape meaning, reality, and direction. The world reflects not what you deserve, but what you believe. A child doesn't ask permission to imagine. They don't hesitate to become a dragon, a hero, a storm. That's because belief is natural, doubt is taught. You weren't born skeptical. You were trained to be. And that's the design, because someone who deeply believes in their own voice, in their worth, in their path, in their vision, is immune to control. This is why the game is played in silence. Not in what they say, but in what they make you say to yourself. I'm not ready. I'm not good enough. I'll wait until it's perfect. Those are not your thoughts. Those are viruses embedded into your mind through repetition and reward. The hack: interrogate every belief that doesn't liberate you. If it doesn't make you more alive, it's a lie. Clarity. In a world designed to overwhelm, clarity is rebellion. Clarity is power, not because it gives you control, but because it gives you choice. And here's the truth no one wants to hear. Most people avoid clarity because it forces a decision. Because once you see clearly, you can no longer pretend you don't know. And with knowing comes responsibility. Responsibility to act, to change, to rise. The fog is not accidental. It's designed. Constant noise, constant outrage, constant consumption, not because it's necessary, but because it keeps you spinning. Confused people stay stuck. Confused people don't revolt. But when you strip it all back, when you silence the noise and ask yourself, what am I really here to do? The answer scares you, because it's too big, too beautiful, too true. And once you know it, the only real fear left is wasting it. So, get clear. Not with another journal, another guru, another dopamine hit dressed as purpose. Get clear by sitting in the silence until your soul speaks. And when it does, listen. Vision. Vision is not what you see with your eyes. It's what you refuse to stop seeing with your heart. Most people don't fail from lack of efforts. They fail from lack of vision. Because vision gives pain a purpose. It makes suffering sacred. It turns struggle into initiation. You will never rise higher than the vision you hold. Not the vision someone handed you. Not the one you copied from a podcast. The one that was coded into your soul before you were even born. And you'll know it's yours because it won't let you sleep. It will haunt you when you settle. It will whisper through your burnout. It will scream through your mediocrity. This is the vision the world is terrified of. Because when a man or woman walks with that kind of vision, they no longer ask for directions. They become the map. Discipline. You think the game is about passion? It's not. Passion burns. Discipline builds. Discipline is the architecture of the soul. It is the structure that holds the weight of greatness when motivation collapses. And it will collapse. Because motivation is a mood. Discipline is a decision. Every kingdom you admire was built brick by brick, not in moments of inspiration, but in moments of relentless, unseen consistency. And the reason most people never win this game, because they worship their emotions. They think, if I don't feel like it, I can't do it. But the awakened player knows, if I only act when I feel like it, I'll never feel what it's like to become who I was meant to be. Discipline is the sacred violence of choosing what serves you over what soothes you. The alarm clock, the reps, the boundaries, the silence, the sacrifice. This is not suffering, this is initiation. You don't need to love it. You need to honor it. Because every time you choose discipline, you tell the world, I am not here to be a pawn. I am here to become the master. Action. You want to shift your fate? Move. Not tomorrow. Not when you're ready. Not after they validate you. No. Because clarity without action is delusion. Vision without execution is a hallucination. And potential without movement is just elegant regret. The mind will trick you. It will create infinite mirrors of almost ready. But the body knows. The soul knows. You were not designed to live in theory. You were designed to embody the truth. Every time you act in alignment with your deeper self, you reclaim territory from the false self. The self that wants to delay. The self that wants to please. The self that wants to stay invisible and call it humble. Action is sacred. Not just the grand gestures, the small ones, the daily ones, the ones no one sees, because those become who you are. And who you are in action is the most undeniable form of truth. You can't think your way into greatness. You walk into it with trembling hands, with shaking voice, with fire in your chest and doubt in your ears. But still, you move. Gratitude. Gratitude is not a mood. It's a frequency. A state of war against entitlement, against scarcity, against victimhood. In the game of life, gratitude is the anchor. Because when you're thankful, not performatively, but from the bone, you stop grasping and start receiving. The system trains you to want more, endlessly, more attention, more speed, more status. But when you pause to honor what already is, the spell breaks, because nothing new can come to a mind that curses its current state. Gratitude is not weakness, it's not passivity, it's the warrior's shield. It says, I'm grounded, I'm clear, I remember how far I've come. It's the weapon that makes even the hardest moments meaningful. Because when you bless your pain, it blesses you back as wisdom. Gratitude is the hack that makes even loss a gift, even endings holy. Adaptability. The most dangerous player in the game isn't the strongest. It's the one who shifts, who sees the storm and sails through it. You think strength is rigidity? No. Rigidity breaks. Power bends. Adaptability is the intelligence of the soul in motion. It's the art of letting go faster than you're being forced to. It's surrender without submission, change without identity, collapse. The ego fears adaptability. It wants everything defined, fixed, secure. But the game has no pause button. And clinging to what no longer serves you is a form of spiritual decay. To evolve, you must adapt, not react. Reacting is reflex. Adapting is response. Strategic, conscious, aligned. You don't need the map to change. You need to become the compass. That's how you stay unshaken, not by resisting the world, but by becoming so fluid, so aware that no shift can ever knock you off your path. Resilience. There is no success without suffering, no strength without scars, no power without pressure. Resilience isn't bouncing back. It's rising differently. It's not that the pain didn't hit you, it's that it forged you. It rearranged your priorities. It purified your circle. It made your yes sacred and your no unquestionable. Resilience isn't toughness. It's presence. It's waking up in a life you didn't choose, but deciding today, again, relentlessly, to build the one you deserve. Because in this game, it's not about who gets hit the least. It's about who builds meaning from the hit. Resilience is not a trait you're born with. It's a muscle forged by heartbreak, refined by rejection, and carved by time. And the moment you stop resenting the pain is the moment you start using it. Learning. In the ancient game of becoming, the most dangerous illusion is thinking you know enough. The ego wants finality. The soul wants expansion. Learning is the ritual of those who've accepted they are both divine and unfinished. It's the art of dissolving so that you can reform over and over again. True learning is not memorization, it's mutation. It doesn't just add to you, it alters you. And the real learning, it doesn't happen in comfort, it happens in contradiction. In the books you disagree with, in the feedback that hurts, in the silence after failure, where your next identity is being forged. Learning is a sacred invitation to become new. And if you're not learning, you're not living, you're just repeating. Don't worship what you already know. Use it, sharpen it, challenge it. Because the game isn't to be the smartest in the room, it's to be the most evolved. Destiny, there is no fate, only frequency. Destiny is not written in the stars, it's etched into the choices you make when no one is watching. It's not something that finds you, it's something you build, day by day, choice by choice, death by death. The death of excuses, the death of waiting, the death of the former self, Because the truth is, you're not discovering your destiny, you're remembering it. It was always there, beneath the trauma, beneath the noise, beneath the scripts and labels and masks. It was the whisper in your childhood dreams, the fire you felt when you saw someone doing what you were born to do. But the game taught you to forget, to chase applause, to blend in, to betray the truth in your gut in exchange for comfort, for belonging, for silence. Yet even in your forgetting, your destiny never left you. It waited. In the background, in the breakdown, in the betrayal that cracked your armor just enough for the light to get in. Because pain is the messenger and longing is the compass. Destiny doesn't shout, it pulls. And when you follow it, not only do you change your life, you fracture the illusion for everyone watching. That's how you become legendary. Sovereignty. Sovereignty is not about being above others. It's about never being below yourself again. It's a state of inner monarchy, where your decisions are no longer crowdsourced, where your worth is no longer on the auction block of opinion, where your energy is no longer drained, trying to explain your evolution to those committed to misunderstanding it. Sovereignty is the end of spiritual outsourcing. You stop asking, what should I do? You start declaring, this is who I am. It's the internal empire where you no longer negotiate with your intuition, no longer trade power for validation, no longer accept crumbs and call it enough. You become whole, not flawless, whole. That means you can see your darkness and not flinch, own your chaos and not collapse, stand alone and still feel complete. Because sovereignty is not given, it's taken. Not from others, from the illusions that said you needed permission to rise. The most terrifying thing in this world is not a man with a title. It's a human who no longer needs to be told who they are. Self-trust. There's a voice inside you that has never lied, but you've spent years ignoring it. You let logic override it. Let fear silence it. Let consensus dilute it until one day it felt foreign, like someone else's voice, timid, unsure, distant. But it's still there, beneath the shoulds, beneath the shame, beneath the scripts of survival. Self-trust is the revolution, the jailbreak, the return. Because once you trust yourself, not your impulses, not your ego, but the core knowing within you, you become unstoppable. It's not that the path gets easier, it's that the doubt dies. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You don't need certainty. You don't need proof before the leap. You are the proof. Every time you made it through what should have broken you. Every time you rebuilt with nothing but will. Every time you rose without applause. That is the evidence. Self-trust is not arrogance, it's remembrance. It's the sacred pact that says, no matter what happens, I will not abandon myself again. Legacy. You were never meant to survive and disappear. You were meant to disrupt, to enter this world as a whisper and leave it as a roar. Not for fame, not for ego, but for the echo. Because legacy is not what they write about you. It's what moves through them because of you. It's the permission you give others when you live fully, the courage you ignite when you speak truth, the map you leave behind when you walk your path, unedited, unfiltered, unapologetic. The game ends for everyone. But most people don't realize they were playing until the final screen fades. Don't be that person. Don't wait for death to remember you were born to live. Legacy is the final hack, the ultimate code. Because when you live as if your breath matters, every moment becomes holy. You stop existing. You begin imprinting, not to be remembered, but to be felt. And that feeling, that ripple, that's how you win. Conclusion. So now you know. Life is a game, and it's rigged not against you, but for your awakening. You were born not to obey, but to see. Not to conform, but to create. Not to survive, but to remember who the hell you are. You are not a pawn. You are not a piece. You are the player. And every thought, every action, every breath is your move. So move, not like you're afraid, not like you're unsure. Move like a sovereign being who finally understands the game was never about winning. It was about waking up. And now that you're awake, play